Hello everyone. In this video we're going to be taking a look at a clip from a CNN segment that was published on their channel on June 28th. It's basically them trying to make the Ocasio-Cortez win look a lot bigger than it is and make her look more mainstream than it is. And in the process, she goes and shows how fucking clueless she is. She seriously is out of touch with reality and the American people. I mean, it's fucking hilarious. And what gets me about the whole thing with CNN here and what they're trying to do, 5% of the voters turned out. 5%. That ain't shit in her district, in the district she ran in. That's nothing. So she manages to win because 5% turns out. The guy who's the incumbent doesn't want to get off his fat, slovenly ass and actually, you know, campaign because he figures he's got it in the bag. So she ends up winning as a result. Now, to me, that should be like a heads up here. But they're like, oh, no, ignore these facts. This just goes to show you, you know, the blue wave. I'm thinking yellow trickle, but oh God. Let's get into this video now.
28-year-old political newcomer emerges as a star after pulling off a stunning upset over 10-term incumbent Congressman Joe Crowley here in New York. Her win caught the attention of President Trump.
One of my biggest critics, a slovenly man named Joe Crowley, got his ass kicked by a young woman who had a lot of energy. She had a lot of energy.
Joining me now is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Thank you so much for joining us.
Now, before we get into this, okay, watch how this sadistic little Marxist bitch who's got no clue, no plan, nothing, tries to spin being complimented by Trump because of her Trump derangement syndrome. It's hilarious. Watch.
I think President Trump was praising you there. Your reaction?
I mean, first of all, it is unacceptable to be, disrespectful. I think of Congressman Crowley. He's done some phenomenal work for the Bronx and Queens, and so I'm first and foremost saddened and upset at the disrespect that he displayed at my predecessor, and I mean, it's bizarre. Okay,
I'm sorry, but this woman is literally the offshoot of the Socialist Democrats, that party because it is a party and it's an offshoot of the Democrats, okay? These are the same people that are going around organizing the harassment of Trump cabinet members, you know, of Trump appointees, of, you know, people that work at DHS and ICE and these, and calling them while they're doing this, you know, Nazis. These are the ones that, you know, the type of people, okay, the Democrats, we can't, you know, he shouldn't be saying anything about Crowley. But Crowley, Pelosi, Schumer, Hillary, all the Democrats were calling, you know, Trump, Hitler, and his people, you know, not, you know, his supporters, Nazis, and they were, you know, like on the note of Hillary, calling them deplorables. Okay, so she wants to talk about bizarre. All right, they try to equate anyone right of Karl Marx as the world's worst pieces of shit, as scumbags, as people beneath them. And Trump was actually not that bad. And here he was paying her a compliment, and she's going to try to turn it into this virtue signaling crap of, oh, well, you know, he shouldn't be doing that. You know what? This just goes to show that when she's doing that, she really doesn't have a clue, because that's kind of, you know, literally taking what you're doing, because I am sure that she knows what her party is doing on the note of organizing these groups to go and harass, you know, like the head of DHS and shit like that. She has to know. So for her to play it like this goes to show that not only is she out of touch, that she's a lying sack of shit sleazebag, like most Marxists. I mean, how the hell do you think they manage to weasel their way in? Oh, we can give you all this free shit and it won't cost anything. And then they're robbing you blind.
To say the least.
And we'll come back to the president in just a second, but since we have you, and since you are now a new force within...
Now, before we go any further, primary upset sends shockwaves through Democratic Party. Well, I'm sure Chucky and Nancy and Mad Maxine and all of them were like, ah! Because they didn't expect this to happen, because they just expect themselves to keep getting elected. That's what Crowley did. He just figured, oh, well, shit, I don't need to go and spend any time in my district. I don't need to go, you know, shake babies and kiss hands. I don't need to do any of that. And look what it got them. And they're shocked by that? That's not shocking. That's common fucking sense. They already had this happen once. Or wait, well, the Republican had it happen. Well, what I meant by that is there was a Republican that had that happen. They should have watched that and went, shit, he had a fire in his district. He didn't go to take care of that, and he lost. Maybe we should have sent Crowley back and said, you dumb fuck, campaign.
Within the Democratic Party, I do want to get your take on the news of the day, which is major news of the day. Justice Anthony Kennedy is retiring. The president...
Oh, God, you got to see what she does here. I'm sorry for stopping like this in the middle of his sentence, but... oh, this part really irked me.
We'll get to nominate a new pick for the Supreme Court. By all accounts, it will be a Gorsuch-like pick that will move the court to the right. There's very little that the...
Look at the look on her face. I mean, you can see her expression change as he's talking about this. And you can see it sinking in, like she's doing the gulping and her jaw tenses, and I mean, she don't like that.
The Democrats can do, if anything, to stop this. But what is your advice to your fellow Democrats? How do you want to see Democrats react to this over the next several months?
Now, I cut it off, so let me, the part that he says something here about how do we stop this. He wants an answer from her.
Gorsuch-like pick that will move the court to the right. There's very little that the Democrats can do, if anything, to stop this. But what is your advice to your fellow Democrats? How do you want to see Democrats react to this over the next several months?
See, he's saying, look, you know, we really can't stop this, but what do you want to do to try to do it? Okay, like an actual affirmative plan. Like I didn't want to say affirmative action. Because that doesn't, well, that fits. That's why I didn't want to say it. But it fits what she is, but it doesn't fit the sentiment of what I'm getting at. But basically, what you would think someone would say, I mean, because we had political tact at one time where you'd say, well, you know, act like a decent human being, don't be a shitbag, you know, be cordial, be civil, try to work with them. But no, she goes back into the virtue signaling and completely talks out of her ass from a place where she has no clue, or she's just being completely dishonest. And I'm going to say it's a little bit of both.
Well, I think that we should be unafraid to play hardball a little bit in this Congress. After all, the Republican Party, I think, has shown throughout the Obama presidency the extent to which that they would go.
Whoa. Excuse me. You play hardball. That's all you people have been doing. The Democrats have been doing since Trump was elected. And all it's costing you is basically the party. From there, Republicans, when Obama was in office, were getting in line on their knees, side by side, to suck his dick. Obamacare, if they played hardball, Obamacare would have never fucking happened. The Affordable Care Act, which should have been labeled the Unaffordable Care Act, would never have ever become a fucking reality. So for this bitch to say, oh, they played hardball. Why? Because they didn't fucking bend over and like spread their asshole gaping, and allow them to dick them up the ass besides? I mean, Jesus fucking Christ, this bitch is so out of touch and delusional. It's not even funny.
To be obstructionist, and while I don't believe that we should be halting progress in this country, I don't believe that the party, that we should be a force for progress. At the same time,
here she is. She's saying, all right, because this is the but. She's saying, well, we shouldn't be obstructionist. And then here's the but. Now watch this.
They stole the first Supreme Court seat.
Wrong. Excuse me, bitch. Here's a history fucking lesson for you. Maybe you should fucking study it instead of Karl fucking Marx. Then maybe you would understand what this country's all about, and maybe you wouldn't be a fucking Marxist scumbag piece of shit who wants open borders and flooding this country with fucking illegals and basically abolishing this nation. Because they might not have had you... you might not have come out and said it here, but you've basically said this in other interviews, that you basically want these people to be able to just flood across the fucking borders, okay? But here's your history lesson, you stupid bitch. When a Supreme Court justice's seat becomes vacant due to retirement, due to illness, due to death, due to whatever the case may be, if it is at the point of an election, all right, the president who is in office, whether they are a lame duck or they are up for re-election, does not nominate and put through a Supreme Court justice. Because, as part of this tradition that's gone on, and I happen to agree with it, because the people who realized this were smart people, a lot can change between the end of one term and the beginning of next, because you're not going to have necessarily someone with the same platform, never mind the same person. So it was felt, hey, let the will of the people reflect the Supreme Court, which I think you realize that, and that's what fucking upset you, is the fact that you can't have the Supreme Court stacked the way you want it to push through your shit down the throats of the rest of the American people. Because you keep saying the majority of Americans vote. All right. Once you take into account the voter fraud and just other irregularities, okay, in places like California, where I'm from, New Hampshire, which was proven, Colorado, and many other states, okay, it's more likely not only did Trump win the Electoral College, he won, the popular vote as well, because shit, in Michigan, and they tried to go hush-hush, they had way more ballots cast than they had registered fucking voters. So, maybe the American people did not want what you want. So he didn't steal, the Republicans didn't steal, the American people didn't steal the Supreme Court justice seat from you. Because the tradition, which you don't like America, you don't obviously consider yourself an American because you want open fucking borders, and because with open fucking borders you don't have a nation. You're a Marxist first and foremost. Get a fucking clue. Get bent. Well, on top of that. Because this comes down to the whole thing of didn't steal shit. That's the bottom line. Yet, you want to push that false fucking narrative that shit was stolen from you. Fuck off.
And for us to take that sitting down in this time, especially when there are so many critical decisions.
Oh, to take it sitting down. Excuse me. The Democrats, your fucking people, well, No, you're socialist Democrat. You're a democratic socialist. No, you're a socialist Democrat. That's different. Because you're a socialist first, a Democrat second. They tried to pull off a fucking nomination, and the American people are what stopped it. It wasn't necessarily the Republicans in Congress. It was the American people going, wait a minute, there's an election coming up. He's a lame duck. He's a lame duck fuck. What the hell? No. Not going to fly. Because the American people started speaking up about it. So it wasn't the Republicans, it was the American people that said no. And the Democrats knew with the American people speaking up, they would not have it fly. They would more likely have had, because of ignoring the tradition, an even bigger chance of Hillary losing than they had a clue of. And they even padded shit trying to tell people, oh yeah, she's going to win, trying to make it a reality.
Pending, we're talking about labor rights on the line, civil...
Labor rights on the line. Huh, okay. Let's talk about that. What labor rights are on the line right now? None. The only thing that was on the line, which just had its ruling recently, was the fact of people being forced to have, people basically having money stolen from them. Because I don't want to say forced, because it's literally being stolen from them. Okay? Compelled joining of a union and paying union dues. Well, you can technically not join the union, but then you still have to pay the union dues, but that makes absolutely no fucking sense. But the thing is your employer, without your consent, because you're forced in a union, a compelled union shop, there's a more accurate term, I can't think of it. But in that type of situation, you're forced to give that money weekly out of your paycheck to a union that you may, or more likely, don't agree with the political leanings of and their ideologies on the note of politics and the candidates they're going to endorse. So why should you be forced to give money, well, have it stolen from you, that's more accurate, have money stolen from your paycheck that's going to be used to support candidates and policies, laws, etc., that you might not necessarily agree in? You should have the right to opt out of a union. So, the Supreme Court ruled that, yeah, you should not be forced, with the government union in this case, in this particular case, you should not be compelled, forced, have money stolen from you if you do not agree with and want to join the union. Now, that's what she's talking about, labor laws, because unions tend to vote, push and pay for left policies, left politicians, so on and so forth. And this ruling now makes it so that all these conservatives out there, all these libertarians out there, all these people right of, Karl Marx and getting free shit can decide, well, fuck, I want to opt out of the union. And that means a lot less money to support her Marxist ideologies. And she does not like that. So to her, that's, labor. No, bitch, that's about you getting your ideologies pushed. Let's be honest.
Civil rights, women's rights, etc.
So, okay, now, civil rights and women's rights. Her idea of civil rights is white cis men stepping the fuck off, women, especially of color like herself, getting, free shit and being able to, get put to the front of the line when the aptitude and ability does not meet other candidates. And when it comes to, say, STEM, you want the best person for the job. When it comes to law, you want the best person for the job. You don't want to have equality of outcome when it comes to, those examples. You don't want it with a lot of things. You want equality of opportunity because you want the best person for the job, period. Yet, she doesn't see it that way. So to her, civil rights is all, you know, oh, we gotta, yeah, civil rights, excuse me, everyone is fucking equal. Period. Under the law, everyone is fucking equal. That is equality, civil rights. You want equality of outcome. You're not gonna get it, bitch. Not on, you know, as long as I hold breath, I will fight that shit to the bitter end. As long as I breathe. Okay? I will fight that shit. And when it comes to women's rights, what she's talking about is Planned Parenthood and getting free shit from Planned Parenthood because the government pays for it, it subsidizes Planned Parenthood. She wants the whole thing of abortion, which me personally, as a constitutionalist libertarian of the mindset of the Founding Fathers, because abortion was legal in England, they understood that life is created equal, meaning at the point of conception, we are all created equal. We all have the same rights as an American. And let me specify that because with this ICE shit that she's got coming up, as Americans, we have those rights, which legal residents and that they've gradually, they got limited rights under that, and now it's like, well, they should have every right. No. And the thing is we are created equal. That means if you do an abortion under those, you know, pretenses, under that, well, that statement of fact, you're committing murder. It's not a woman's right to murder another fucking life, because it's more than a clump of cells after a few weeks. You know, you can see a fucking baby there. So, yeah, and people like her and most of these feminazi psycho bitches pretty much believe, up until the point that the head crowns, they should be able to get an abortion. And it's fucking ridiculous. And she's talking about women's rights.
The very least that we can do, I think, is delay that damage.
See, so I don't want to be obstructionist, but here she is saying, be obstructionist.
How, practically speaking, how do you fight this?
Now, this is what I love. Practically speaking, how do you fight this? Now, he's asking for specifics. Now, watch her response. It is fucking hilarious. It's complete talking out of her ass. I mean, there should be, like, diarrhea, dribbly shit going across the fucking camera lens as she's talking here.
Well, I think legislatively, once again, we have to create a lot of pressure. I myself come from the background as an organizer.
Oh yeah, an organizer. She organized for Bernie. I'm sure when it comes to organizing, she's been involved in organizing these groups that are a part of her offshoot of the Marxist Democrats, I'll call them because it's more accurate. They're not socialists, they're fucking Marxists. Well, socialism an offshoot, but she's more towards Karl Marx as opposed to the idea of modern socialism. She's more like communist Marxists, yeah. Because she wants to abolish capitalism and all this other shit. Yeah, she's a real piece of work. But basically what's going on here is the whole, you know, thing of she's going to completely talk out of her ass. It's fucking hilarious. Let's start over here.
A lot of pressure. I myself come from the background as an organizer. And in order for us to get things done, in Congress especially, I feel like we need to organize inside and outside the chamber.
Translation. Organize inside and outside the chamber, okay? She is from the Antifa mindset. So look at this woman as, say, the face of the Antifa types. That's what she basically is, okay? They've done it. She's the female Hitler of Antifa. Okay? She is the female fucking Lenin, Stalin. Alright? She's the face of that shit. And when she's talking about organize outside, she's talking about riling up these little fucking shitbags and then organizing them to cause the fucking shit they've been causing, to put pressure. That's what she's talking about. That's what she wants. Because that's what these fucking Marxist little fucks have as common fucking sense to do in their minds.
And if we only work inside the chamber, then we aren't going to get too much done. We have.
Yeah, because if you don't scare the shit out of everyone and force them to do what you want, you ain't going to get what you want, right?
To work in conjunction, organize popular support to push our priorities in the chamber, and that's really how we're going to get our agenda and our priorities passed.
There are Democrats.
Excuse me, what popular support? Because you're fucking fringe. 5% of people showed up to vote. You're fucking fringe. Oh my God.
Democratic senators who supported Neil Gorsuch, Heidi Heitkamp, Joe Connolly, Joe Manchin. There could be so-called red state Democrats that support this nest pick as well. Do you feel as if your fellow Democrats from the progressive wing should abandon these people?
Now I love this. He's labeling her progressive. Okay, she's an all-out fucking she's like Bernie. All right, except I wouldn't be surprised if she's now a card-carrying communist like him, because he is a card-carrying communist. That's not bullshit. That's an actual matter of fact. And surprisingly, he drives around in an Audi R8. Has multiple multi-million-dollar homes. Yeah. So now the thing is, it's funny. She's going to do basically another one of those butts. And it's like, well, you know, should we snub them? Well, we should, you know, it's kind of like basically she's like, well, we should only work with them on the things that we want. And, you know, it's fucked up. She's a twisted bitch. This woman is a twisted bitch. She is the poster child for what is wrong with the millennial generation.
No, I mean,
Or I should say one of them.
I think that it all comes to circumstance. It all comes to that one individual choice. Like, what does abandon mean?
See, I love this. What does abandon mean? See, she's playing these fucking games.
And I think that at the end of the day, that word abandon, does it mean to support primary challengers? Does it mean to, you know, refuse to work with them? What does abandon mean? You know, I don't think that we should ever just say we're not going to work with members of within our own party once they're in our party and in our chamber. But I also think that we can apply pressure. We should be applying pressure to some of those individuals that may be, frankly, I think, putting some of people's most basic rights in jeopardy.
Now, this is what's fucked up. Okay, I mean, that's what she's basically has just said. There is what I was talking about is, well, this and that, and then she basically gets to the point. Well, we should only, like, she's kind of hinting at that whole thing of we should only work with them when we want our shit, and they can go fuck themselves because look, they're going against these people and their, you know, the interest of the people, and, you know, excuse me, who are you to say that? I mean, what exactly did she say again?
Putting some of people's most basic rights in jeopardy.
Putting some of the people's most basic rights in jeopardy. What basic rights are you talking about? Because the only basic rights there are, okay, in this country are defined in the United States Constitution. None of those things are in jeopardy, except for the Second Amendment, which is one of those things I'm sure you want to go after and destroy. So, here you are talking about those rights that you think are rights that aren't. Well, going after them for, say, with Gorsuch agreeing with the nomination, and he's going to be pro Second Amendment. This is fucking ridiculous. This bitch is crazy. She's out of touch with reality, as I said. She's out of touch with the American people.
I want to talk about you, if we can, for a moment, because there was, I mean, I'm old enough to remember when your primary win was the biggest news of the day. That lasted until a Supreme Court vacancy existed there. Right. The Majority Leader Mitch McConnell commented on this. Republicans are trying to use you in some of your positions as a bit of a wedge here. Listen to the...
As a bit of a wedge? No. Well, no. I love this. Statements of fact are a wedge now. Because, heaven forbid, the people are actually fucking informed about someone. some really fucked up shit here. But this is CNN after all.
The leader.
It was a stunning development. The energy in the Democratic Party is self-avowed socialist, open borders. I think it's a general election problem for them in a number of places, and a real drag on the party in terms of appealing to American voters who I don't think want us to turn into a European socialist country.
No shit they don't. What he said is 100% factually fucking accurate. You want to know why? Because, oh, Trump fucking won. Obamacare got fucking eviscerated. All these socialist fucking bullshit things that Obama did and previous Democrats have done are being rolled back. All of this globalist shit is being rolled back, which she wants open borders. That's globalism. And the American people are have more than an approval of it going on.
He uses the S word, socialist. You are a democratic socialist. You can see how Republicans will bring that up. What's your response?
Excuse me. Bringing up the fact that she's a socialist, he didn't directly say she was a socialist, number one. Number two, bringing up the fact of her being a socialist is a statement of fact. It's not being brought up to cause problems. We're talking about a woman who beat out an incumbent. Mind you, there was only 5% of the party, and he's going, you got Mitch McConnell going, the energy in the Democratic Party. What energy? 5% of the fucking voting. 5% of the registered voters showed up. That's not energy. That's the only reason why she won. And the thing is, they're trying to make it sound like, oh, well, that's just throwing a name around. That's name calling. It's a statement of fucking fact.
Well, you know, I think that we've seen that the American people, the vast majority of American people, believed in improved and expanded Medicare for all.
Wrong. That is complete bullshit. The majority of Americans do not want socialized medicine in this country. They basically want us to go back to what it was when more people were actually able to get medical care because a large group of the middle class, well, what's left of it, can't afford insurance because of Obamacare. Okay, and you go, well, Medicare for all will solve that. No, it won't. Medicare is broke. It is bankrupt. So yeah, let's throw a bunch more fucking people on its rolls, okay, and go off, fuck it. It's just money. See, this is what the problem is with socialists. They don't understand that it takes money to make this world go round. They just want, you know, the post-scarcity Star Trek idea of fucking communist socialism. It's fucking ridiculous. It really is. And then she thinks, you notice how she went, well, as we've seen Americans, and then she had to go back and choose her words. She honestly does not believe that the majority of Americans believe that shit. But yet, because if she did, she would have said that right off the bat. So she's got to talk out of her ass.
They believe that we should have public college and trade school.
Wrong. They do not believe that, because if they did, they wouldn't have voted for Trump on the idea of school vouchers, which would mean, oh, shit, people taking their kids out of public schools and putting them into private institutions. Huh. I think that kind of contradicts you there, you dumb bitch.
They believe that we should elevate the minimum wage.
Wrong. Anyone with half of a clue about economics. Oh, wait, we're talking about Americans. Most of them don't have a fucking clue. But still, the large majority of people do not want the minimum wage raised. They believe that the market should dictate wages. You have, because minimum wage is about minimum. You don't, you know, that way, which FDR enacted the minimum wage. And it actually hurt business. It actually caused a lot of people to lose their jobs. That is a matter of historical fact. Go look it up. Raising the minimum wage artificially. Raising wages artificially. Through a minimum wage. causes everything else to go up. The cost of everything increases. You've just increased labor. So the thing is, most people don't want that. That's what's fucked up. And on this idea, if that was really true, then the Fight for 15 wouldn't have people not showing up. The Fight for 15 wouldn't have to put ads on Craigslist and pay people to protest. The Fight for 15, being the hypocrites that they are, then wouldn't be paying those protesters $12 an hour. Again, go look it up. So, yeah, when you have to pay people to protest for $15 an hour and you're paying them $12, you're fucking morons, you're hypocrites, you're scum, and you got no clue about how money works.
And, you know, I think it's easy for Republicans to start yelling out labels in order to be divisive and incite fear. But at the end of the day, I believe that our legislative priorities are completely in line and reflective with the majority of Americans. And
whoa. So, okay, excuse me. You idiots on the left are the name-calling fucking morons that called people, you know, deplorables, Nazis, fascists, Hitler, all these fucked up things, and you're projecting that. And the majority of American people aren't in line with your shit.
And I understand why they want to use fear tactics. And
fear tactics. I love how she's saying this when her Democrat Socialist group literally is organizing these groups to harass members of the Trump administration and scare the ever-loving fucking shit out of them and intimidate them in the process. The bitch is a lying, hypocritical fucking... I was raised not to say the C word. I hate saying it, and I almost just said it because this is how much this stupid bitch pisses me off.
I understand why they're scared of me, because I represent a change to their status quo.
Scared of you? No one's scared of you. Oh my God. You're about as threatening as the cute little kitten I saw today at the pet store. And you're a hell of a lot fugglier. Because, I mean, well, it was cute. You're fugly. I mean, just, like, those eyebrows, pluck that shit. I mean, this fucking shit here, I mean, holy shit. She's got some stray hairs going on there. The bitch would have a unibrow. She needs to pluck that shit. Oh my God, she's like Cro-Magnon fucking man. I just noticed that. Fuck me. Trim that shit, bitch. Pluck it. Do something.
And it represents, I think, a real threat to the Republican Party.
Some of these legislative priorities include eliminating ICE, for instance.
Now this is where she gets into her ICE shit. Basically, and she said this, you can go look for yourselves, about how she wants to abolish ICE. She wants open borders. People should just be able to come here. I mean, this is some fucked up shit. This bitch is crazy.
And President Trump came after you directly on that. I don't have time to play the sound there, but he noted that there are Democrats who want to eliminate ICE. He says this would put people at risk. You don't deny that you'd like to see ICE go.
Yeah, and you know, I think what people need to remember is that ICE was just established in 2003. We had an immigration system before then. ICE was established with the Patriot.
Okay, we have an immigration system that had not an immigration system, but an immigration enforcement system. We had that. The problem is once they got across the border, there was no way of rounding up people. The only time people got deported is if they committed a fucking crime and got caught. And it was do not pass go, do not collect $200, your ass was thrown in jail. Immigration came, they showed up, they grabbed your ass, and they either brought you to the border on a bus, or they, you know, if you were from Mexico, or they threw you on a fucking plane and sent you the fuck home. You didn't even get to go collect your fucking shit. And that's how it should be. If you're here illegally, you're committing a fucking crime. Do not pass go. And as not being an American or a legal resident, you're not guaranteed constitutional rights. You shouldn't have them. Because the whole point of the nation is to guarantee, and being part of that nation is to have those rights afforded to you. You shouldn't just be able to walk across the fucking border and go, hey, I've got a Fifth Amendment, I've got a Fourth Amendment. No, fuck you.
Patriot Act, with the Iraq War, with the AUMF, with DHS, and we look at all of that legislation now as a mistake, and I think now we're starting to realize that ICE, part of that suite of legislation, has a structure that allows for civil rights and human rights abuses. And,
Well, civil rights and human rights abuses. Excuse me, but civil rights are granted to Americans and legal residents, not illegal aliens. Okay? No, they're not undocumented immigrants. They're illegal aliens. They have no fucking rights. They do not get to pass go. Sorry.
It may seem like a radical position, but I actually think it's very, very common sense. We should not be separating children from their families. We should not be detaining people and violating, one's rights to due process.
So they shouldn't be detaining people. They illegally cross into the country, and she's basically saying they should get a free fucking pass here. That's what she's saying. Flat out. And the thing of separating children from parents. Well, number one, the reason why this goes back to Janet Reno. And the reason why they're being separated is because you had major child trafficking issues. You had people also using kids to cross the border, claiming that they were their kids. You had all these problems, and these kids were being exploited in some way, shape, or form. Not only that, you have these people who are crossing the border, which is a crime, and they needed to be detained and also see what other crimes they've committed, because you don't obviously, want murderers, rapists, all this other shit, getting let loose. And what they would do is they would give them their day. They would go through the process of deportation, after they were made sure that that was their kid, and the kid and them would get deported. If it wasn't their kid, they would try to find a relative to give to put the kid in the custody of. And this is what's been going on. And this bitch is trying to make it sound like, oh, they're being ripped away. No, they're not being ripped away.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, thank you so much for being with us this morning. Look forward to speaking with you again in the future, maybe for many, many years, based on what could be your new seat coming up. Thank you.
Now, I'm sorry that this video went this long. I mean, this is a 7:04 clip, and here we are, well over 40 minutes at this point in. So, I mean, I just needed to go through this shit and point out how fucked up this bitch is. Dude, she is, seriously, she's out of touch with reality and the American people. She thinks the American people, when Trump got elected on Build the Wall, want open fucking borders. Anyway, I think I've covered this well enough. I'm just going to leave things here. If you liked this video, depending on where you are watching it, please give it an upvote or thumbs up. If you want to know when new content of mine hits the internet, don't forget to subscribe to one or more of my social media or video accounts listed here. Also, with YouTube, don't forget to ring that bell. You can find all of my video content on both BitChute and YouTube. This may not be the case with other places I upload to, but I will try to minimize this happening. You are always welcome to interact with me at any of these sites on the list, so feel free to do so. If you have anything you want me to cover in a video, when it comes to news or current events, send it right along to me. I will try to do my best to cover it. As always, thank you for watching.